Well, it's finally happened. 15 sessions of close calls and tactical retreats, but the seemingly unavoidable has happened. We've had a character death. Let's talk about how this happened and what our next steps are. Sesto was once again missing this week, so no triumphant return in the nick of time happened, and as he has one of the group's Wands of Heal, they were down a rank 1 heal spell this session. We had left off last session as the battle against the ghouls was in full swing. Our heroes had killed 2 of the 7 ghouls, and Ornifex was down 2 heal spells. I had incorrectly stated that Milo and May were paralyzed, however, I've since been reminded of the incapacitation trait, which basically means the standard ghouls are actually unable to paralyze our heroes due to being too low level. The Kanka cultist can, though. As we kicked back off at the top of the round, the Kanka cultist began launching spells into our heroes. Its magic set a persistent 1 bleed damage on Milo, which would chip away at him for the remainder of the battle. Potions were drank, and flanking was utilized well by both sides of the combat. Rock specifically performed very well, using flanking and sneak attack to crit 3 separate ghouls, destroying them entirely. A natural 20 on Milo's third swing meant that he critically hit the Kanka cultist, finally killing it and ceasing the dangerous spells. For the round after, Milo having killed the Kanka cultists, I had the ghouls focused solely on him. 2 of the undead rushed towards him and with claw and tooth brought his health pretty low. One effects kept him safe though, pumping another rank 2 heal spell into him. It didn't all go their way though. During the skirmish, both May and Rock became infected by ghoul fever, joining the already infected Milo. This does have a day of onset time, so will not be a problem for a little while. Things became particularly annoying for our heroes once the final 2 ghouls began backing up towards the Gauntlet reading room and using the blue light to heal up every round. They would move forward, attack, and then retreat into the light to heal. The group used actions such as reposition and shove to keep the ghouls out of the light, and after a few rounds, they did finally manage to out damage the healing and bring them down. During these final moments, Rock passed close by to the blue tendril of energy, and in a painful flash, he saw a split second vision of a screaming woman's face. Okay, Rock, as you step within close proximity to this thing, you get a flash for like a split second of a screaming woman's face who looks familiar to you. Someone you've not seen in a long time.
Lily, right?
Yes.
As I walk by the light here, not previously, correct?
Yeah, like as soon as you're in close proximity to the light, there's this flash of almost like it almost flashbangs you for a split second, and then you're back in the room. Like the when Frodo touches the ring, the Sauron flash type thing.
Okay, so she's screaming in another location. It's not like she's here screaming.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. I need to kill this thing and I need to jump in the light. Gotcha.
True to his word, after the ghouls lay dead, Rock stepped forward and pushed into the necrotic beam of energy.
Yeah, I reach out with
Oh,
my
God.
hand to try to touch the light.
Okay.
Oh my god.
This calls for a reflex saving throw, but since you're intentionally trying to do it, do you want to void the save and just fail? There's typically a saving throw given to avoid the damage of entering the beam. However, since Rock was willingly entering it, I asked if he wanted to purposely fail and take the full brunt of the light. He agreed, and so stepped into the raw gauntlet energy. You step forward and the light embraces you. You take 16 points of negative energy, but for a couple of seconds you get flashes through your brain. Almost as though your vision is crunching through the floor, flashing multiple layers down, until you're staring at the woman strapped to a table, screaming as her essence is being dragged out and turned into this beam of light that is ascending through the grounds, multiple floors, all the way up to the top of the lighthouse.
Do I get a sense of how many floors down?
This woman is, of course, Lily, an NPC from Rock's backstory who has taken the place of Alasdair Venkavale in our version of the story. He tried to determine how many floors down she was, but couldn't quite figure that out. As the group took a moment to assess the situation, they glanced around the room, taking in their surroundings. This chamber's smooth stone walls glisten with moisture, despite the air being dry and somewhat stuffy. Several low divans are arranged in a circle and interspersed with low tables stacked with a few books and rotting morsels of decaying flesh. A twisting ribbon of pale blue light stretches between the bare floor at the room's center and the ceiling above. Its points of contact sending creepers of what look to be infected tissue out in a distorted spiral for a few feet. Ornifex spotted a secret door in the western wall, but before they could interact with it, the group took the time to rest and discuss what had just happened.
Rock, what the hell?
I go down, Milo.
But are you okay? Did anything happen?
I saw her.
Her?
She's here.
You mean the one
Where?
we're looking for?
I wish I knew where. I wish I knew how far down we had to go. All I know is she's strapped to some table. She's having looked like her soul is getting pulled from her body, or essence, something. I'm not good with magic shit. As you can tell, I just stab and I just beat on things until they fall over.
Yeah, but you do that well. You say her soul.
You said her soul is being taken out and she's below us, right? Is this from her? Not point to the spinny light stuff.
Possibly. It looked like, how do I describe it? It looked like she was the kindling for a torch, you know? And her essence, soul, spirit, whatever you want to call it, was the flame powering up through through this.
This reaches up to the lighthouse, right? The gauntlet?
Right. Or we can assume so anyway.
Yeah, given the spiral shape of this room, I'd say it's probably some kind of tunnel, maybe even like a central thing. I wonder if we'll find circular rooms like this on each floor, going forward at least. Who knows? But I think you're right. The gauntlet has to be powered somehow, and this seems like how it happens.
Then we gotta hurry.
Yeah, we do.
I mean, we don't know how it's powering it, but I can pretty much tell you that if somebody is being used for power like this, it's not going to last very long. We need to get down there soon.
This urgency built in the players recently may be my fault. What I originally intended as teasers for later mysteries have instead become an unknown time limit for our heroes. While urgency is a good tool that you can use for creating drama and direction, it does lead the party to take risks that they maybe shouldn't. The urgency created here might be directly responsible for the imminent death. Players are, of course, fully capable of choosing their own actions, and they knew the situation they were in. May tried to encourage caution and safety, however, Rock was eager to push on, despite their dwindling resources. They did wait long enough to perform some treat wounds, identify some potions as Bravo's brew, and for Ornifex to begin engaging with the research subsystem. While reading through the adventure, it always seemed strange to me that this literal library level wasn't counted as a library for the purposes of the research subsystem. As such, I went ahead and did it myself. You can access this completely free on my website, link in the description, and it covers how to run this floor of the Abomination Vaults as a research encounter. It works best if the ghouls have already been cleared, however, it can still function alongside the destruction of the Cult of the Kanker. Ornifex spent 30 minutes skimming through the books in the Gauntlet reading room, and after a successful occultism check, she earned 1 research point for this room. As per the guide, the group can earn a total of 4 points from this room before they've learned everything there is to offer from this space. The group seemed apprehensive to commit much more time to the research encounter right now, as they were both in a rush and nervous to linger here.
We need to head down, right? As fast as possible?
I don't think heading straight down is going to help us. I mean, I get that she's probably in pain and not enjoying her current situation, but I don't think rushing down there without any kind of plan is a good idea.
Yes. And I guess every floor that we clear out makes it safer for us to descend. But it
And I mean,
takes time.
we've not even spoken to anybody who's down here. We don't even know what's going on. Like, what is this?
Well, I mean, I don't know exactly, but I do have some theories.
I like your enthusiasm, but I don't think theories are going to be useful right now.
Well, the gauntlet has been activated after, like, what, 500 years of inactivity? And it seems like souls down in the depths below are used to funnel energy, negative, bad, zombie energies, into the gauntlet. And I guess maybe it serves as some kind of projector or amplifier, which then launches that negative energy like it did towards the graveyard to reanimate all those dead bodies.
And it's only done that
Regardless,
once. Sorry.
we're not gonna learn anything for just standing around here. We need
That's
to
right.
push or go back. And I for one am down to push.
The first plan of action was to check out the secret door, which led to this floor's teleportation circle.
The walls of this circular chamber are decorated with intricate, intertwining runes and shapes carved deep into the stone and filled with dull, silvery metal. The floor and ceiling are polished to a reflective sheen.
They didn't linger on this for too long, however, they did try and recall if there's a way to jumpstart these portals, but they were unsuccessful in their attempt. They followed the main library north and began to check doors. The first one they went through led to a simple washroom, however, the second opened into the restricted collection.
Rows of bookshelves run the length of this room, although in places they've been damaged or tipped over. The books that once sat on these ruined shelves appear to have been relocated to other shelves. Several doors lead out from this room, but the double door to the north is most impressive. It's made of stone, carved with a strange feminine shape rising from the ghost-laced mists of a cemetery of emptied graves.
5 ghouls were busy working on this room, tidying up after a recent Morlock attack. The undead were surprised to see our hero's arrival, but instead of immediately attacking, the Kanker cultist wanted to lure the surface dwellers into a trap. Coincidentally, Milo also tried to talk their way through the tense meeting.
Ah! Fellow disciples of Belcora! Finally we meet.
He gives you a confused look. Oh, we supposed to have been expecting you. Come. You can have an audience with the High Priestess.
The High Priestess. Sounds great. Lead the way.
He'll back towards the doors and gesture in as the other ghouls kind of gather around a little bit.
Did he also speak Aklo, or did he just talk common?
He
Or
replied
something
in
else?
Aklo.
Okay, nice. Then I'm gonna, in hushed voice, speak to my allies. He's gonna introduce us to the High Priestess. If you guys feel like it's gonna go sour, just start attacking, alright? Get them with the surprise. And then, if someone attacks, we all follow and go through with it, yeah?
Right, a bit too late now, but sure.
No, I mean, like, we can get close to them now, and then, whooah!
Well, let's see what we're dealing with first.
Yeah.
In a surprisingly easy conversation for both parties, our heroes were led into the temple of the Kanker.
Soft light illuminates several display cases in this vast room. Once used to display books, these cases stand smashed and empty. Along the curved north wall stands a hideous, towering figure of a woman. The form is composed of hundreds of portions of stitched together flesh from a variety of creatures, and draped in tattered, filthy sheets. The stench of rot from the statue fills even this large room.
Nhakazarin, the high priestess of the Kanka cult, was stood alone in the room. However, the Kanka cultist also entered and closed the door behind them, keeping the party enclosed within the room. This entire situation was a bit of a surprise to me. I had been expecting our heroes to greet any further ghouls with immediate violence, so as they allowed themselves to be led further into the ghouls' territory, ghouls at their back cutting off their escape, I began to worry how they could possibly make it out of this situation. Nhakazarin is a very dangerous spellcaster, and knowing how this scene would likely play out, I decided to take this opportunity to stop fighting with one hand tied behind my back. We've been playing for 15 sessions, and up till now, I've been holding back a little bit to give our players time to adjust to a new system and understand their characters. This boss encounter seemed like a perfect chance to see what they've learned. I'm not a maniac, though. I didn't want to guarantee a TPK, which is why I left the 4 standard ghouls at the door. I justified their lack of intrusion as orders from Nhakazarin to never be disturbed. Milo, speaking on behalf of the group, took the lead in this conversation and, in a very bold move, began bluffing wildly.
Greetings, High Priestess.
Greetings to you as well. What's brought you here?
Well, the same as you, I presume. The light and the plan.
She seems... Make a deception check.
Oh no.
She seems a little confused by that statement. You see her pull away a little bit.
Who do you work with? Which faction sent you?
Which faction? Are you even aware of all the players in this game?
Why have you come here? Who sent you?
Nobody sent us. We work for ourselves. But we serve our great lady, Belcora. Great effigy, by the way.
You see a twinge of annoyance. Milo's attempts to coax information out of the ghoul was failing due to his assumptions and bluffs being slightly inaccurate. Nhakazarin's distrust began to grow, and soon she decided these intruders were not worth her time, and she should simply just make them into more servant ghouls. She could already sense a ghoul fever coursing through most of them.
You seem lost. I can help
Lost?
you be found. Accept the fever.
She gives a look over the group, and the sides of her mouth twitch slightly.
I see 3 of you already have the blood. If you want to be of real use, then I can put you to work.
Well, that's a tempting offer, but I, for one, am not interested in working as a ghoul.
It's too late for that. You'll be one soon. Might as well stick around.
Well, if I'm gonna be one soon, I guess I got a lot of things to take care of.
Let
When
me.
you say B1, what does that mean? Do we have a choice?
You have the fever.
I mean, I feel pretty great. Not too hot, not too cold.
Give it time.
How much time?
If I lock you away for a few days, you'll be ours. You'll be eager to work.
If we, let's say, didn't want to accept your very generous offer of joining you, is there a way to undo the fever?
Nhakazarin's annoyance continued to grow. She very much wished to kill these surface dwellers. However, since 3 of them were already infected with ghoul fever, it seemed like a waste. Eventually, though, her frustration with the group reached its limits, and she couldn't hold back any further.
Well then. How about this? What do you know of the Gauntlet? Was it you people that activated it?
She sort of rolls her eyes a bit.
I'm not going to stand here and answer your menial questions.
mean, it seems kind of relevant, though. I mean, isn't that why we're all here? One way or another?
I'm not sure why you're here.
Power of the light.
What do you want with the light?
Claim it, of course. Can't let any old faction get their hold on it.
Then our interests do not align.
Then you seek it for yourselves.
No, of course not. Blasphemous fool. I will speak with you no more.
Our heroes were immediately worried that the cultists by the door was going to open the door and let the other 4 ghouls in, so they began the fight by trying to get him away from the door. I hadn't planned on involving these other ghouls, however the fear of that scenario did make for good tension. As such, I wanted them to think that this was a possibility without actually doing it. I had the Kanker cultist use its first turn to cast a 3-action harm spell, teasing that having all our heroes grouped together was too good of an opportunity to pass up on. This put our heroes on the back foot right out of the gate, as the entire group was damaged. Then they pushed on with their initial plan. Milo and Rock pushed up to the cultist and, with a successful reposition, slid him away from the door. May then slipped past them and took up the position by the door, blocking his access. Meanwhile, Nhakazarin backed up next to the Belcora statue and cast Chilling Darkness on Ornifex, dealing a significant amount of damage. With the Kanker cultist forced away from the door, the group focused their efforts on bringing him down. Potions were drank, and weapons were swung. The cultist retreated deeper into the room, trying to make some space, and hit Milo with Phantom Pain. This spell causes the target to be sickened and have persistent mental damage. However, ending one ends both. As such, Milo spent his entire turn trying and failing to remove the sickened. The mental damage began to eat away at him. Rock pursued the cultist and chipped away at its health. While this happened, though, Ornifex, Milo, and May were caught in a sound burst spell from Nhakazarin. May critically succeeded her save and fully avoided the attack. However, Ornifex and Milo were both hurt, and Milo even became deafened. This didn't matter too much, though, as he was also reduced to 0 hit points and began dying. It was at this point that we realized persistent damage still applies when you're unconscious and dying, making Milo's situation look very dangerous. The idea of an imminent PC death became a worryingly real scenario. May had no way to help Milo, for she was out of potions, so joined Rock in beating on the cultist. Her assault brought the cultist to low health, but he was still alive. This allowed Ornifex to cast her final use of the heal spell as a 3-action emanation. This revived Milo, healed her allies, and also killed the cultist. For a moment, it looked like the battle was shifting in their favor. This didn't last long, though. Rock wasted no time in attacking Nhakazarin and rushed her. He managed to crit her, however, she had a shield spell active and reduced the damage to only 1. As Milo chugged potions and finally cleared his sickened and persistent damage, Nhakazarin threw the full weight of her magic against Rock. She began by casting Touch of Undeath, damaging him and reducing his healing effectiveness to half. Then she struck him with a vampiric touch spell. He critically failed his saving throw, taking double damage, and because of the death trait, instantly died. Another fortitude saving throw.
You whore. I told you, no touchy.
Oh, that's double damage for this one.
Fuck, man. Double damage on that?
And she
Oh
heals for
my
half the
God.
damage as well.
So I'm
That's
down.
fucked. That's fucked up. What?
Oh my god!
This has the death trait, so Rock is dead.
What?
Fuck yeah.
You watch as Rock's corpse gets brushed, well, his body gets brushed by her hand, and then he just dead stops, just collapses, unmoving, unbreathing to the ground.
Shit.
What the fuck?
This death came as a shock to all of us. Our players haven't encountered the death trait before, so it took them a moment to process it. I had been fighting quite brutally, but even I was a little shocked. I hadn't anticipated the crit failure on the saving throw, Death seems to be par for the course in Abomination Vaults, and I had assumed it was only a matter of time until it happened to us too. John took the death very well. He had a good laugh about the situation and then asked for a new character sheet to begin working on his backup character. However, I told him to hold off for a little bit since I had some ideas I wanted to run by him after the session, but more on that later. The rest of our heroes had a choice to make now: retreat or revenge. They were pretty scared of losing anybody else, but the idea of leaving Rock's body behind with these ghouls was quite upsetting to them, so they chose to fight on. May and Milo charged Nhakazarin and attacked with everything they had. Arguably a little late in the fight, Ornifex brought out the big guns and cast a runic weapon on Milo's short sword. This, however, proved pretty unimpactful, as for the remainder of the battle, not a single one of his strikes landed. Nhakazarin continued to smash the group with spells using Bane, Rave Enfeeblement, Grim Tendrils, and Chill Touch to debuff and damage them. The question of retreat came up again as they desperately tried to bring down the ghoul but made very slow progress.
Are we going down fighting then? We're not going to try and run, right?
I mean, logically, we should run, but there's no way Milo is running now.
There's also the problem of like however many ghouls down here.
Yeah.
It was like 4, right?
There's also the problem of Rock being dead on the ground and this bitch being the one who killed him.
Again, they agreed to keep fighting. This began to worry me. It began to seem as though they were genuinely toying with the idea of TPKing here. Ornifex used the Wand of Healing to give their very last speck of healing to May, and then the battle of attrition began, both sides throwing out damage and chipping the other side down. As our heroes reduced her to about half health, Nhakazarin moved to the dead cultist, preparing to feed on it. A weird dance began as May would repeatedly reposition the corpse, forcing the ghoul to keep following after it while also protecting herself. I had been role-playing Nhakazarin as being very reluctant to feed on the new Belcora body, so I was stalling on her consume masterpiece ability. After a few rounds of being denied her meal, though, she begrudgingly moved to the statue and ate it, healing and becoming quickened. She used her quickened action to cast Harm, reducing Milo to dying again. This was the straw that broke the camel's back. Our heroes finally concluded that they had no hope but to flee. May grabbed Milo's dropped items, Ornifex gave him the group's last potion, and they fled for the door. Obviously, there were 4 ghouls waiting beyond the door, grinning and laughing at the panicked sounds of violence within. I knew that there was no way I could make our heroes fight their way through now. That would have been just exceedingly cruel and basically guarantee a TPK. Instead, I began a chase scene in which the first location's challenge consisted of charging through or avoiding the awaiting ghouls. I improvised 5 locations, beginning in the restricted library, spreading a few down the main library, and then having them flee up the stairs. The ghouls would be too nervous of the Morlocks to pursue further for now. Due to the risk of failure here and the cinematic nature of the scene, I kept the DCs low and the number of successes as 2. There were a few failures, but sure enough, the heroes did successfully escape the pursuing ghouls and fled back up to the servants' quarters. If the ghouls had caught up, I likely would have ran a single round of combat and then jumped back into the chase, creating a sense of danger but without forcing them to give up on the retreat. As the heroes began to catch their breath and mourn, we ended the session. However, as our players erupted into chatter about the events of the night, I had a bit more to do. You might recall, many sessions ago, I spoke about the idea of giving each player 1 optional second chance. I had John join a private call and explain the premise behind this secret second chance. Depending on the nature of the death, the method of the second chance varied, and to be honest, I wasn't sure John would even take it. He has had some issues with his character, his build, which he seems to have been resolving recently, especially since I've given him his backstory. However, due to the circumstances of his death, I offered him the opportunity to retrain his level 2 class feat into the Ghoul dedication and continue on as an undead rock. After some deliberation as to how this would affect his character's build and his story, he agreed, wanting to lean into how this would change his relationship with Lily should he be reunited with her. So, our other heroes don't know yet, but this isn't the last we've heard from Rock. He'll be returning next session as both the first victim of the Gauntlet, but also a changed man. What a session. When I was prepping this session, I had no idea where it would take us, obviously. There are loads of factors that led us here. My backstory hints building too much urgency, Milo underestimating the ghouls and walking them into a deadly boss fight while already low on resources, Sesto and his items and abilities being missing. While it is nobody's fault and everybody took the loss very well, there were lots of choices that could have led to a different outcome. But this is just part of the game, and the danger of the Abomination Vaults is sure to be taken seriously from here on out. What was your group's first death in the Abomination Vaults, and how did they take it? Leave a comment below, and we'll have a chat. Thanks so much for watching. Because I'm obsessed with this game, there are going to be 2 new series of campaign diaries coming to the channel: The Fall of Plaguestone and Crown of the Kobold King. Abomination Vaults will remain the main campaign and get the most consistent upload schedule, while these other 2 games will be uploaded as and when they're ready. I hope to experiment with different GMing styles in these games and sort of show how you can adapt to each group and what they're looking for. Please look forward to them. We have some returning players and some new players in these groups, so they're sure to be a lot of fun. In the meantime, liking and subscribing is a great way of showing support and showing that you're enjoying what I'm doing here, and I will always greatly appreciate your support. But for now, I'll see you next time.